If you think that you don't like oatmeal, let me just tell you that there are many ways to prepare oatmeal, and I'm gonna show you my 2 favorite ways that I cook oatmeal in the mornings. We've got an ultra summery raspberry lemon baked oatmeal and a cherry pie flavored overnight oats recipe. They're both very different in texture but equally delicious in flavor. They both come in at under 520 calories and they both hit around 20 grams of protein per serving. So without further ado, let's get right into breakfast. One of my favorite dessert recipes has gotta be cherry pie, and it just dawned on me that I haven't created anything on the channel that tastes like a cherry pie, so I figured let's make it into a breakfast recipe. Because why not? So here we are. I'm going to show you guys how to make my pretty much new favorite overnight oats recipe. And the secret ingredient of this recipe is all in the cherry chia jam. That's right. We're basically making the cherry pie filling into a jam out of chia seeds. And it's so easy. I make chia jams all the time. You can really use any berry that you like. I'm going to show you first how to make the chia jam in this recipe. Okay, so you're gonna start by grabbing 4 cups of frozen cherries. You could use fresh, but I actually find that frozen works best for jam. And you're gonna wanna pulse up your cherries a few times in your food processor just to kind of break them up into smaller chunks, which I actually find that to overall help the consistency of your jam be jammier and not just whole berries. Once they have been processed into kind of a chunky mixture like you see here, go ahead and transfer it to a small little saucepan. And then we're gonna add 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. This is just gonna help to bring out lots of flavor and add a little bit of tartness and a little bit of acidity. And then to balance out the tartness and the acidity, we're going to add some maple syrup. You can use any other liquid sweetener you like though. And then for extra flavor, we're gonna add a couple teaspoons of vanilla extract. Give that all a good stir, and you're gonna just bring it over to the stove and heat it up over about medium-high heat until it starts to kind of melt and turn into a nice liquidy bubbling mixture. Once it looks something like this, you're going to add 4 tablespoons of chia seeds. You're going to turn off the heat and stir the chia seeds right into the berry sauce and stir it for about a minute or so until all the chia seeds have been well combined into the sauce. And then all you gotta do is just let the jam come to about room temperature, let it just sit in the pot off the heat while you prepare your other ingredients. And then once it's cooled off, then you can transfer it to a jar like the one I have here. Okay, so moving on to the oat part of our overnight oats recipe, we're going to make our nice creamy vanilla base. So we're gonna start by adding a cup of soy milk into a large mixing bowl, followed by a cup of vanilla Greek style yogurt. If you can't find like a high protein Greek style yogurt that's plant-based, you can just use any plant-based yogurt that you like. And then we're gonna add a little splash of vanilla for flavor and maple syrup for sweetness, and then just whisk that all up until it's a smooth texture. Then you can go ahead and add in your rolled oats and then stir that all together until the oats are well combined into the liquid and it is a nice uniform mixture just like this. It is very silky smooth, very delicious, and now we're just gonna set that aside for a moment while we prepare our almond crumble. So we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of almond meal into a little tiny saucepan or frying pan, and then we're just gonna basically toast it on the stove for about 5 to 8 minutes over medium heat until it's just become nice and golden brown and not burnt. We do not want it to be burnt, folks, because no one likes burnt almonds. Transfer the toasted almonds into a small bowl, and then we're just going to add in 1 teaspoon of maple syrup for sweetness and 1 teaspoon of any kind of nut butter of your choice. I'm using sunflower seed butter, but peanut butter or cashew butter would work great. And then we're gonna add a pinch of salt just to help round out all the flavors, and then we're just going to mix it all up until it's in this nice little crumble. You don't want it to be too sticky, but you also don't want it to be too dry. You just kind of want it to be right in the middle. Next step is to simply add about a tablespoon or so of that almond crumble into the bottom of your jar that you're going to be putting the oats in, and then just kind of flatten it out into almost like a little raw pie crust. Trust me, this is a brilliant idea. Do not skip the almond crumble. And then from there, you can pretty much add in your oats as you please. You can layer it with the berry chia jam if you like, which is what I've done here, or you can just kind of plop all the chia jam right on top. Whatever you want is fine. And then I'm just adding another layer of the overnight oats mixture, and then I'm adding a pretty generous layer of the chia jam with a little extra crumble on top, and oh my gosh, seriously, does that not look like the most epic thing you have seen in a very, very long time? And now for the most challenging part of this recipe is the waiting. Yeah, now you gotta wait. Put them in your fridge, let them soak up overnight, let the oats get all nice and chewy and soft and so good. And it should turn out looking something like this. It will have thickened up beautifully. It's like literally a dessert in a cup. It's just so flippin' good. It's sweet, it's tangy, it's tart, it tastes like pie. That almond crumble adds an amazing toasted, nutty, crusty taste and vibe, and it's honestly just so magical. And like I said before, you can absolutely use this recipe with any other berry that you like. And then on the plus side, you'll have a nice big batch of chia jam to enjoy in all sorts of other delicious ways. On that note, let's journey onto our next recipe. We've got a perfect summery oats recipe, none other than a baked oats with a lemon raspberry flavor profile. Oh my gosh, lemon and raspberry is like a quintessential summer pairing that you just gotta do something with at least once in the summer. Alrighty, we've got 11 very super simple, healthy ingredients for this recipe, so let's get right into it. We're gonna start by mixing up our wet ingredients into a mixing bowl. So we're gonna start by adding in some plant milk. I'm using soy, but you can use any plant milk you like. Then we're gonna add a little bit of unsweetened applesauce. This is actually gonna replace our need for oil. Then to replace our need for an egg, we're gonna be adding a flax egg, which if you're unfamiliar with flax eggs, they're basically just ground flax seeds mixed with water and left to soak for about 10 minutes until they gelatinize into an eggy texture. And then for a nice kind of creamy, nutty texture and flavor, we're going to add some tahini. You can use any other nut or seed butter that you like, however. And then for some delicious caramelly sweetness, we're gonna add some coconut sugar, and for flavor and fragrance, we're gonna add a little touch of vanilla. And then for the star of this recipe, we're gonna be adding the zest of 1 lemon. This is just gonna add so much amazing citrusy flavor. And then after you've zested that lemon, you can go ahead and juice the whole lemon into that bowl. You should get about 3 to 4 tablespoons of lemon juice from this 1 lemon. And then we're just gonna whisk that all together until it's a nice uniform wet mixture. And then we're gonna go ahead and add in all of the dry ingredients. So we're gonna add 2 cups of rolled oats, and then we're gonna add in some oat flour, which is just ground up oats in a blender. Then we're just gonna add some baking powder and salt and give that all a good stir until the oats and the flour have been completely combined into the wet mix. And then we're gonna add a cup of raspberries. I'm using frozen because that's all I had, but you can absolutely use fresh raspberries. Do be gentle when you're folding in the raspberries, as you don't want them to turn into mush, especially true if you're using frozen raspberries. Next step is to just lightly oil a casserole dish, and then we're just gonna pour in the oat mixture. Smooth it out into a nice even layer, or just give it a little shake like I did here. And then we're just going to add in a few little extra berries on top for garnish if you want. I think it's a nice idea. It just makes it look a little more pretty and, you know, aesthetic. Bake that in the oven until it comes out nice and golden and crisp around the edges. And oh my gosh, you guys, like, this is like eating cake for breakfast. No joke. Like the most delicious summery cake you can imagine. It has an amazing hearty texture from the whole oats, but adding the oat flour just adds a little bit of nice light fluffiness to it. This is so nutritious with the oats and the tahini and the flax eggs. It's such a filling breakfast that not only looks pretty, it tastes amazing and it makes you feel really good. I like to top mine with a little bit of plant-based yogurt for a little bit of extra protein, but you can add more berries, you can add a little drizzle of maple syrup or sweetener or anything else you like. One thing that I love about baked oatmeal is that it makes for like really quick and mess-free, fuss-free breakfast meal prep. Like, subscribe, I'll catch you in another video soon. Bye-bye.